Welcome back, YouTube, to another episode here at WILDMAN Lifts. I'm your host, WILDMAN. Now on today's episode, I'm going to be doing the low bar back squat because all my recent lifts that involve the back squat typically involve a higher or high bar back squat. And there was a reason for that. But now I'm switching back to low bar squat. There's also a reason for that. So let's pop into today's workout. I'm going to explain why this is happening. Now for today's strength giant set, I'm going to be doing the back squat, and I'm going to be doing it in a low bar style, working up to a 3-rep max. And you can see that I've pulled out a little old friend of mine. This is a medicine ball, and that's what I used to train on in order to make sure that I was hitting depth and getting used to it. So I'll explain that in a minute. And as I'm going up in weight on the back squat, I'm also going to be doing some pull-ups. Great to stretch out your spine, also to work the upper back for the bar to sit on. And mountain climbers. Love mountain climbers on squat days because it really works my ankle mobility and it works the abs as well. And a little bit of your chest just from holding up your own body weight. That's going to be the strength giant set for the day. Now, basically a low bar back squat is when you place the bar lower on your back. So typically on a high bar or mid-high bar, it's on your traps or in between your traps and shoulder blades in the back of your muscles, where that's where the low bar usually sits on. And typically the lower the bar is on your back, the more weight you're going to be, but it is going to shift the squat a whole lot different. When you're doing a high bar back squat, you're able to get your hips a little bit more underneath, so it's easier to get to depth and is a much longer range of motion. When you're doing the low bar back squat, you're typically pitched forward because the bar is lower on your back. And as you descend, then your hips actually physically stop you from going lower. This is why low bar back squatters usually get dinged a lot for not going to proper depth. And I put that in air quotes. So the reason why I switched from low bar to high bar for a while was because I wanted it to carry over more into the front plane of the movements that I'm trying to get better at, such as the continental clean and press or any ground overhead or the deadlift. I kind of felt like that was going to help a whole lot better. But the truth is, when I do my variation lifts right after I do my strength with the high bar back squat, I'm also being a lot more upright in pretty much all of those lifts, because those are usually like Zercher squats or front squats or deadlifts or front rack carries. So I kind of felt like that I was getting too much of that frontal plane. So now it's kind of safe to go back to the low bar because I can lift a lot more weight with the low bar. But like I said, sometimes it's hard to reach depth. But in powerlifting, a lot of powerlifters do the low bar back squat. That's how they can lift the most amount of weight. The low bar back squat may not carry over like into other like Olympic lifts or whatever. It's mainly designed to lift the most amount of weight on the squat. So powerlifters, the rule and regulation is the hip crease. So that little line that creases when your hip starts to squat down has to be lower than the top of your knee. So it is possible, low bar back squatter, to hit quote unquote proper depth simply because of that rule. Because typically their hip crease is going to be below their knee line, even though when you look at it aesthetically, it looks like they're not going down as deep as a high bar back squatter. So that's why I have my little medicine ball buddy there, because that makes sure that I'm reaching proper depth on the low bar squat standard. So I'm going to be switching back to this, and I'm really going to see just how much of an overall strength change that makes as I'm doing my other lifts. So this is something that I'm excited to go back to because this was the style of squat that I learned to love. So that went very well, because the last video I think I showed you guys where I was doing the back squat with a high bar, I only was able to do 405 for like 1 rep, and that was a struggle. And me just getting back into this and not having done low bar back squat in about, I want to say about 2 years, this felt really good, and I was able to do 405 for 2 reps. And it felt pretty solid. If I really wanted to, I think I could have gone for a 3rd rep, but I felt very happy with 2. Like that was kind of like the goal I wanted to hit for today. So next time I'll try to push it a little bit harder, but there's other things that I could do as well that's going to help with the low bar back squat and actually really influence me to go back to the low bar back squat. And it's going to be this movement that's involved in the variation giant set. So let's pop into that right now. Now for the variation giant set, I'm doing this belt squat contraption that is latched onto my squat rack. And this thing is really cool. And the reason why I kind of felt comfortable going back to a low bar back squat is because you could see I'm doing the same exact technique as I would when I'm doing a low bar back squat. The only difference is that weight isn't sitting on my shoulders, so it takes away a lot less core strength. It's mainly focused on your legs and your hips. What I really liked about this when I was using it last time was it's the same exact cues as you would in a back squat, which is pushing your knees outward, taking a little bit more of a wider stance. And then when you're popping back up, you're focused on the weight sitting on your lower back. That's kind of the cue. That makes your upper back tighten up and get a little bit more upright so that you have a lot more power. And the last time I did 4 45-pound plates on each side. So today I'm doing 3 45-pound plates and 25-pound plates on each side. And the goal was just to work up to an easy 6 reps. But I like this because I'm able to go down to depth. So I'm able to go down a lot lower than I can on the high bar back squat, simply because of where the weight is placed. So I really like this training style. Now, as I was doing this and as I was going up in weight, I continued with the same format as before with the pull-ups, and I was also doing the mountain climbers as well, just to keep everything on a nice even number. And in the end, I want to get a really good workout once I'm done. Now, I didn't do an assistance giant set because my legs were kind of smoked. So I decided to do an accessory giant set instead. That was involving these supinated curls. I love doing these because it really hammers the tendons that hold your bicep to the elbow. Something that's hard to get. And this is a great way to reach those tendons and to switch it up on your bicep days. And then I was doing hitchhikers as well because I really liked how this works the back, but it really works my shoulder mobility. Make sure that I don't get shoulder impingements the more I lift. You might get shoulder impingements when you're doing back squats. And flutter kicks. Not only is this a great lower ab exercise, but also is a great leg exercise. And it really works my inner thighs if you can't your feet just a touch out wide. Great way to end the leg day, especially when you're hitting those muscles that is hard to reach. So there you have it. We are done. And I really hope you enjoyed working out with me, that you also learned something new. And you might give something else a try that you never have tried before. Really appreciate everybody stopping by, and I'll see you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe.